last 40 years, I think Mr. Shekhar Kapur has been
Not 40 years.
has been the has been the dinosaur of all eyes in this country and abroad, I must say. And I think he's one of the pioneers as we were growing up in this country, waking up to Indian cinema, actually going global. He was one of the few creative personalities and one of the few stalwarts who dared to make that transition and took Indian content, Indian cinema, Indian art, Indian culture, whatever you would want to call it, in whichever rubric you want to put it.
Global. I'm so glad everybody's here. I hope everybody's come with a checkbook in their pocket because that's really what we need in the movie business. Write the checks, we'll make the movies, we'll take them overseas. Who else is going to do it but CII? Okay. I do remember that first time that Anand Mahindra and I took India to Cannes, and we had a party, and it was the most wanted party. We were fighting people off. India doesn't have parties anymore. But that party, where people were trying to get in, people were fighting, people were falling over each other. But why wouldn't they? Because we were projecting dance sequences on a wall of water that was coming down, and in front of that were girls dancing. So we were very innovative when we used to sell films at that time. That's come out died down. You have to bring that back. You cannot go to Cannes and not grab attention. You cannot go to Cannes and say, hey, look for our films without giving this great party that everybody wants to go to. To the question, how, because you're saying that India is conquering world markets. We've actually gone backwards. Indian films were much more popular worldwide many, many, many years ago. In fact, the film that has done the biggest business ever, Indian film, in overseas market is actually Ava. At that time, it did about $35 to $40 million at that time. Then came Sangam. And Sangam actually created those three brothers that made a lot of money. But what happened is that we didn't have the money to keep promoting it because the Americans came in with huge dollars to market. We just weren't rich enough to market. So we have to go back to market films. And when we say, look how well Indian films are doing overseas, it's just that the diaspora is increasing. We haven't really gone beyond the diaspora. Not really. So RRR does well. That's one film. A few others do well. Payal Kapadia's film is probably going to do very well because we have films that actually now, with young film directors, are going out and they're making great films. So Santosh, Payal Kapadia's film, one or two other films. I'm sure Payal Kapadia's film will make a lot of money. So what do we have to do? Why is it that a nation that took back Raja Harishchandra years ago, why is it that the nation adopted a foreign technology and created the biggest film industry in the world and actually didn't go out and conquer the world? Partly, of course, because we have a great market at home. Partly, of course, because we adopted a folk form that was very relevant to India. We called it the Nautanki. The Nautanki were these groups of players that went from village to village, and they would pick up people from the village and perform. It was the Ramlila, but other stories also. And they would perform, take the local butcher and get the local butcher to do comedy or take somebody else to do a song. And it was a huge art form, as was Parsi theatre. So we took an inherently Indian art form that we were all addicted to and are still addicted to and adapted it to a Western technology. And we've been very happy with it. So first, we have to decide, do we want to go overseas? I think we should. I think at one point, we are facing what I call, and I'm sorry if there's some big corporate people who don't like what I'm saying, is we are going to be faced what I call the Disneyfication of India. The Disneyfication of India is coming. Now, the Disneyfication of India doesn't happen because you buy out outlets. It happens because you buy out so many outlets that your population that is growing up and getting to know each other start to get attracted to Disney. And they're very clever at it. And they watch Disney films and they get Disneyfied. Do we want a Disneyfied population to come up? Does that mean more business locally? Of course it does. Does it mean better morally? I don't think so. I think that we are Indians at heart and we will want to be Indians at heart. So I will fight that as much as I can. Why is it we have the world's largest teenage population in the world? What? In sheer population numbers. This is the population that goes to the theater. This is the population also that adapts to technology immediately first. If you banned Facebook today, Facebook would probably collapse in India, right? Because our youth is like Jack in the Box. They're waiting. They just adapt to technology each time. So if we really want to go forward, we need to start embracing technology. We need to embrace the 30-second film. We need to embrace AI. I sincerely believe that AI, not just in entertainment, but in the way AI is going to come to India, and if we adapt it, if we are early adopters, we're going to add $1 trillion in the next 5 years to our GDP. Well, it's not just us. The world is going to add huge amounts of GDP. Where is it right now? AI, I'm just going to talk about AI a moment because I'm sure those questions will come. Because it's all Sam Altman, everybody saying, oh, that's $7 trillion, that's $8 trillion, what are we going to do? We're just poor little India. I don't believe that. I believe that the use case of AI is down at the bottom of the pyramid. There's this CEO that was making an investor presentation, walked in. He was asking his investors for another $1 billion. Walked into his office early in the morning, nobody there except the cleaning lady. And she said, sir, sorry, I found these papers in the waste paper basket. And he looked at it, it was his investor's presentation. So he said, how did it get there? She said, I found it. So he was cursing his secretary and walking away, and the cleaning lady said, excuse me, sir, I'm very sorry, but I think your investor presentation is not very good. And he said, but you're the cleaning lady, what would you know? I have one that I would like to present to you. And she gave that investor presentation to him. He went in and he read it. It was better than his. Why was it better than his? Because he got his investor presentation by going to ChatGPT, and so did she. And she knew how to prompt ChatGPT better. So how are we going to survive structures when the top of the pyramid and the bottom of the pyramid have exactly the same tools? We only survive structures because the top knows better, or they're better, or maybe they have money. The whole idea of money might change, the whole idea of banking. How change at a pace that you can't handle is what AI will bring. And who will it get to? I have a neighbor who does private equity. He said, but what am my chowkidar? How will he earn money? I said, how did you do it? He said, I do private equity. How did you start? Oh, by looking at investments and then investing here and there. So that's exactly what your chowkidar will do. So get ready for the time that you will have to provide security for your own house, because your chowkidar will be doing private equity. So that's where we're going. Now, let's get back to our business, right? And I'm going to talk to AI about that. My big competition, or Spielberg's big competition, is not going to be with each other. It's going to be with that 15-year-old girl sitting in Dharavi, going to a little animation school or a little computer classes and learning how to prompt. And when Sora comes out, or all these things come out, she'll be able to make a film just on a computer. That's going to be the competition. So technology is what we have to use. The way we make films and we sell them, yes, RRR does 165 billion. But actually, Slumdog Million did 500 million. So why are we not talking about Slumdog Million? Only because it was funded. So if all of you have a checkbook, fund our films, we'll make them, we'll go out and we'll sell them in the world. Marketing. That's the big issue. You know that, right? You make films. So what I'm saying is, let's go forward. If we want to do it, let's achieve it. But the chance is coming now because the technology is a great enabler. Theatrical is going to be narrow and narrow. Anyway, in the US, 90% of the consumption of audiovisual is neither theater, film, neither television, neither OTT, neither music videos, neither sports channels. That's three things: gaming, TikTok, and YouTube. That's it. 90% of the gaming, TikTok video. So where is the attention of the young people going? Where is the time that they are spending in entertainment going? It's going there. It's not going to theatrical. I love theatrical. I love Movies. They're getting shorter. I remember as a kid, we used to go to the movie in India and we used to wait for the censor certificate. Can anybody tell me why? Anybody raise your hands and tell me why we love these censor certificates. I'll tell you why. If the censor certificate said 18 reels, everybody in the theater went up and cheered because they said, oh, we're getting value for money. It's going to be a long film. If it said 14, everybody booed. We waited for the censor certificate because we could sit and get value for money, right? But the theatrical experience is changing. Now we say, the film's too long, right? So you have to ask me more specific questions about the way forward. But the way forward is an adaptation technology. The way forward is to recognize that the people who's going to make it are either people like you who are going to write the checks, okay? But it's going to be at the bottom of the pyramid. It's going to be those kids. It's going to be those teenagers. They're going to take to TikTok. They're the teenagers or whatever India doesn't ban, or Facebook, and write little movies on that. And they're the ones that are going to take us forward. It may not be theatrical, but that's okay, because we are all storytellers. It doesn't matter if I tell a story in a frame that big or in there. I prefer that, but not everybody prefers that. India is a land of stories. I can't actually get into the boat without saying, sir, I have a story. I can't walk into the hotel elevator without saying, sir, I have a script. We are all addicted storytellers. India is a land of addictive storytelling.
Shekhar, all of that is fine. But in your own journey, technology, marketing, you have seen when the creative courage is there, you have taken leap of faith when you went out and directed movies like that you did in Britain and the English movies that you directed. So at the end of it, it's about individual courage, it's about individual thought, and it is also about an individual's own prism, how he sees his own journey.
Well, it depends on who's looking at courage, because courage often is another form of madness. I was a chartered accountant in London doing pretty well, and I walked away from that. And I said, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just walked in and I fell into movies. My parents called it madness. Now, because I'm successful, you call it courage. Otherwise, if I hadn't succeeded, you'd say, oh, that's so stupid.
I've always gone back to chartered accountancy.
That's what I kept telling my parents. But would I? No. It's a game of patience. It's a game of hope. It's a game of belief. And it's a game of going to your parents and say, everybody says it's fine, you're done, it's okay, and you're saying, how do you give your parents hope? How do you give your loved ones hope? It's very funny. I'm going to climb that mountain, and everybody says you're going to die. I know I'm going to climb it. I'm going to climb it. I don't care, because I hope I don't care if I die. How do you tell your parents, I don't care if I die? They're never going to sleep the next night, for the next few nights. So it's not just courage. It's a certain amount of madness. We have names for it. We call it passion.
It's conviction.
It's more than conviction. It's madness. I'm telling you, conviction is just a small part of madness. I was mad. I was mad to do this. And my madness, you go to hoop and you throw those hoops and one of them might catch. So those hoops are my madness hoops. And I threw those madness hoops and one of them caught. And so I'm sitting here, right? So is there a formula? Yes. Do you know what the formula is? Be completely mad. What else can I say? What else can I say? What else is entrepreneurship but madness? You might go and give, somebody comes to you and say, I want to do a startup. They give you figures of the future and market ideas of the future, technology of the future. Everything is about of the future. They're mad enough to do that and you're mad enough to accept it. But sometimes that two madnesses get together and create great companies. You know that. All of you have done that. Right?
So in that sense, it took you 12 years. But in that sense, today, even funding or maybe courtesy corporatization, but a lot of senior Bollywood personalities I have interviewed in the recent past, from Mr. Mithun Chakravarti to Shatrughan Sinha to Salim Javed, they have, some amount of niggling doubt in their mind about corporatization, over corporatization. Now, but because of corporatization, I'm quite sure, because of the studios like YRF, etc., I'm quite sure that this funding challenge and other such challenges associated with creativeness or with creativity have come down. And those challenges can also, those sort of aids can also catapult any reasonably bright individual to a global stage today.
You have to give me an instance of that. I'll come back to that. Of course, when all the channels came in, Netflix came in, Amazon came in, everybody came in, all the Indian directors celebrated this fact that when we go there, our films will be internationally seen and then we'll get offers from Hollywood. Hasn't happened even once. No Indian director has actually made that leap through these channels.
So tell me, what is the reason, sir?
Let's look at the filmmakers that we are looking at. Raj Kapoor made all his films with his own money, lost money, got bankrupt, made another film, made it. Raj Kapoor is celebrated. He's an individual film entrepreneur, filmmaker. All four of these people, all three of the filmmakers, they never were corporatized. They were not made in corporatization. There is, of course, black money is no longer there. There used to be a lot of black money. But in corporatization, here's the problem. Okay, I'm going to have to tell you how I made Masoom. Do you want to hear it? Really?
Yes, why not? Why not? Why not? Please go ahead.
I'd never made a film. I'd never read a book on filmmaking. No, I'd never assisted. I had never taken a course on filmmaking at all. Nothing. I went and made a film not knowing what I was doing. And nobody doubted me. Nobody asked me any questions. I just made the film and nobody said, oh, Shekhar, you have to tell us a story. Oh, Shekhar, you have to do this. I just had the charm to tell the actors, just do it. They believed me and we made Masoom, which 40 years later is still being seen. What happened? How did somebody who knew nothing now, me at this stage going to a corporate, 7 people sitting there who never actually made films, they're sitting there, okay, Shekhar, tell us a story. I promise you, not one of them would approve Masoom because they have a checklist. They say, where's the 3-act structure? What's your 3rd act? What does it mean? Nothing. It means that somebody's got a formula somewhere. But there's no drama in it. Of course there's no drama. There's no villain in it. Of course there's no villain in Masoom. That's why it works. Oh, it's too simple. Of course that's too simple. That's why it works. I doubt very much that in today's corporate structure, I would be able to walk into Netflix and sell a Masoom if I've never made a film before. No, they won't, because that's not how they're taught. Because they've never made films. They're not artists, they're not creative people. They sit there in judgment to try and have a formula that will apply to the film you're selling them. And then they will not understand it. They're not bad people. They're just ignorant people.
They're just
They're not
professionals.
bad.
They're just professionals.
No, they're ignorant. Sorry, I'm going to be very honest. When I sit with them, I find a huge amount of ignorance there. So how is it that this body of ignorance that is coming up and populate all our OTT platforms, how that body of ignorance ever going to find an Indian director that goes and splurges abroad? It's not going to happen. It's not. It's going to be a filmmaker's individual enterprise to fight and fight and fight and be what? What was the word? Madness. You still have to be mad. You have to go to 10 channels, be mad. I'm making a sequel to Masoom. I'm not even going to. I'm raising, friends are giving me the money to do it. That's mad. They're mad to just give me the money to make another film. So, no, the world has not changed in that sense. Corporatization is not. It's taken black money out. That's it.
Made it more organized. Mr. Mithun Chakravarti, of course, had one very interesting point. I interviewed him after Dada Sahab Phalke, when he got to Dada Sahab Phalke some 3 weeks back. And he had something very interesting to say. He said that, look, there's so much of professional corporate intervention that the independent producer has been completely nudged out of the process. And because the independent producer has been nudged out of the process, elbowed out of the process, the individual stories or the story where ingenuity is there are somehow not getting reflected. And then I have a constant question which I ask all filmmakers, all stars, all mega stars. We somehow pushed common man, common ordinary men, women living ordinary lives out of the cinema completely. And everything then became spick and span with very big cars, neat houses, big houses, foreign holidays, etc., etc. Do you think that marginalization of the common man has actually worked to the detriment of Bollywood? That is why we see a lot of Bollywood films today actually bombing and very few succeeding. Very few succeeding.
Well, first, Mithun is absolutely right. What we've edged out is individual producers that come Listen, I made Mr. India with Boni Kapoor, right? Boni Kapoor was a difficult producer to work with, but he would sell his shirt for the film. He would go bankrupt for the film. And I knew that. And that weighed heavily on me. But that's how Mr. India was made. Every time we were going shooting, he would call me and say, Shekhar, do you have any money? And I would say, no, you're supposed to pay me, remember? No, I don't have any money. But
It's not the other way around.
it's not the other way around. So Mitten is right. That kind of individual enterprise as we've lost. Talk about the common man. We create taste. Right? You go to an Indian restaurant, it's all spicy and everything. That's what you think that a film is. And so you are creating the taste of the common man. We're not etching the common man out. We are bringing the common man into a different era, right? And we're creating the new taste. And that I don't agree with. I think that Raj Kapoor's original films, Avara, was like, oh, at its time it was just stunning.
My final question to you would be that then, what is the reason that why are so many of Bollywood movies bombing? There is a constant talk swirling around Bollywood that the Bollywood has somehow lost the plot. There are no new actors, there are no new stars, there are no new superstars for sure, and there is no new plot. This is a constant criticism that Bollywood is facing.
The world has no new plots. That's fine. It's how you work within that plot also. But there is a reason. There are several reasons, but one of the big reasons for that is when you look at South Indian films that have suddenly become very popular, they're still rooted to their cultures. What we call Bollywood film has no culture, has no roots. It's everybody. I mean, if you look at the old one, nobody has a second name. It's Miss Seema, Mr. Kumar. It's not Mr. Kumar Mangalam, if I said. No, it's not. It's not. There's no second name to any of the characters because they're so scared of being rooted. And now
It's only Vijay. It's only Vijay.
Yeah, Vijay, or this, there's no second name. And so that huge attempt has been to not root themselves. And that's what's turning against them. But if you look at the South Indian cinema that's doing really well, they're still rooted in the Telugu culture. They're still rooted in the Tamil culture. They take that extent. So Rajamouli will never shoot a film outside his Telugu culture. All of it. Even if he makes RRR, it's very rooted in the language and the things and the way that Telugu culture is.
Thank you very much, Shekhar.